San Diego, near the Mexican border. However, the car's location from February 4th to February 8th is unknown. It was speculated that the McStay family left voluntarily, since investigators found searches in the family's computers for passports, documents, and things that they would need to travel to Mexico. Also, Spanish language lessons were found. On November 11th, 2013, a motorcyclist found 4 sets of human remains buried in 2 shallow graves in the desert near Victorville, California. 2 days later, these remains were officially, positively identified as those of the McStay family. The last known footage of the family surfaced from a Mexico border surveillance camera. It allegedly shows the family crossing the border into Mexico to never be seen alive again. The McStays had over $100,000 in their bank accounts, which still was untouched even after their disappearance. As of November 5th, 2014, an arrest was made in connections to the murders. Chase Merritt was arrested and charged with 4 counts of murder and awaits trial, even though a lot of people speculate there is not enough motive or evidence to convict Merritt. First Lieutenant Felix Moncla was a United States Air Force pilot who mysteriously disappeared while performing an air defense intercept over Lake Superior in 1953. On the evening of November 23, 1953, the Air Defense Command Ground Intercept radar operators at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan identified an unusual target near the Sioux Locks. This was confirmed as an official unidentified flying object. The Kinross Air Force Base then dispatched an F-89C Scorpion fighter jet, piloted by First Lieutenant Moncla, to investigate the radar return. The 2 blips on the radar screen grew closer and closer until they seemed to merge into one, assuming that Moncla had flown either under or over the target. Ground control then thought that moments later, the Scorpion and the object would appear again as 2 separate blips. This was not the case, as both blips then disappeared and then reappeared as just one. When the unidentified craft was finally on radar, it was noted that the 2 radar images, the UFO and the Air Force jet, were very close at some point. They intersected, but only one remained. The report says that the identified craft flew north and then disappeared from radar. Lieutenant Moncla's jet mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Attempts were made to contact Moncla via radio, but this was unsuccessful. A search and rescue operation by both USAF and the RCAF was quickly mounted, but failed to find a trace of the plane or the pilot. Maura Murray was a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Maura left campus earlier that day after packing her car and messaging her friends and coworkers that she would be gone for a week due to a family emergency. And that's where the mystery begins, since there was no family emergency. After 7 p.m., a Woodsville, New Hampshire resident heard a loud thump outside of her house. Through her window, she could see a car was up against a snowbank on Route 112. The car pointed west on the eastbound side of the road. She telephoned the Grafton County Sheriff's Department at 7:27 p.m. to report the accident. At the same time, another neighbor saw the car as well as someone walking around the vehicle. She witnessed a third neighbor pull up alongside the vehicle. At 7:46 p.m., a Haverhill police officer arrived at the scene. No one was inside or around the car. The car's windshield was cracked on the driver's side and both airbags had been deployed. The car was locked. Inside and outside the car, he discovered red stains that looked like red wine. Another weird fact about this was there were no footprints to or from the car. For the 46 minutes between the car wreck and the police arriving, it appears that Maura Murray had just vanished into thin air with no signs of foul play. It had been 12 years since her disappearance, and the only known development was a very strange video uploaded 8 years later on the anniversary of Maura's disappearance titled Happy Anniversary. This video shows a man laughing into a camera while creepy music plays in the background. The video was quickly deleted by the user soon after. Lars Matank was a 28-year-old man from Germany, and while on vacation in Bulgaria, disappeared mysteriously after being last seen at an airport. According to Matank's friends who accompanied him during his vacation, Lars was involved in a fistfight not once but twice. First with a rival soccer fan at a pub, and another time with other foreign tourists at a beach. After a long night at the pub, Matank seemed to be unreachable for a short time, until he finally contacted his friend saying he injured his ear in a fight and needed to seek minor medical attention. On the day his group were to fly back home, Lars told his friends to go on ahead without him since he worried about the prescription he was currently on may affect his ear injury due to the altitude change. This was the first of many bizarre behaviors Matank began to exhibit. The following day, Lars made a call to his mother stating that he feared for his life in vague details. Then the morning after the conversation with his mother, Matank then gathered his belongings to catch the next flight home. This is the last known conversation Lars had with anybody. Lars enters the airport calmly with his luggage and proceeds through baggage claim. Then, in a burst of terror, Lars is seen running full speed out of the airport without his belongings. Another security camera caught Lars swiftly leaving the airport and exiting down the road towards a fenced area. Many different theories have surfaced as to why Lars ran from the airport in a panic, ranging from the mob having a target on him to a lapse in his mental health. However, there was no conclusive evidence. This is the last known footage of Lars Matank, and to this day, he is still missing. During a vacation in Panama, two Dutch women suddenly vanished during a hike. Lisanne Froon and Chris Kremers were a couple of very attractive, friendly, and adventurous foreign exchange students who enjoyed exploring the world. However, that all came to an inexplicable end in early April of 2014. Even though tourists ending up missing in unfamiliar territory is not deemed unusual, the strange circumstances and discoveries surrounding this case have left many to believe foul play was at hand. Remains and belongings were discovered after a massive search and rescue effort was organized. Within these findings, the cell phones of Lisanne and Chris uncovered a series of pictures and 911 calls. A collection of pictures taken from their smartphones soon after they lost contact with friends and family range from landscapes to dark forest to just unexplainable. Most photos are blank or show a very dark forest trail. Investigators believe the two were trying to navigate through the wilderness with their cell phone camera lights. However, one photo shows what looks like red bags tied to a stick. Outside of the strange photos and the 911 calls, there are a couple more facts that make this case very interesting and creepy. A pair of shorts was found on a rock 8 kilometers upriver from where the bags and bodies were found. One body showed signs of phosphorus bleaching, potentially from lime used to hasten decomposition. The bodies were very decomposed when they were discovered, scattered and scant. However, the backpack still looked brand new with both phones and cameras still working on the inside. One phone had the wrong password entered 5 times. This could have been because one of the girls had already died and the other girl tried to use her phone. Hiking experts suggest that they should have known they were headed the wrong way. Investigators and detective deem this case death by accidental exposure. This was the last photo taken in the cell phone. Thanks for watching the Life Bites Countdown. Please subscribe.